do any of you have? Yes.
Coach Berenson, how proud are you of Carl Hagelin, Matt Russ, and Louis Caparuso trying to set the example to come back for 4 years for your program?
Well, it's too bad if we're surprised that players want to come back and finish their senior year, but that seems to be the direction that we've seen in college sports. These kids had their heads screwed on straight. They're all strong students. They're good players, and they were the leaders on our team. And that's why we got to the Frozen Four, because of our senior class led by Carl Hagelin.
Coach Hope, do you get a bonus if you recruit in pairs?
The question was, do you get a bonus if you recruit in pairs?
I don't think so.
I can confirm that. Yes, in the back with the helmet.
Are we going to have a kicker this year?
How's your leg? I think last time I checked, we're going to have a kicker.
Yes, this year we are.
And we're going to tackle. So. Any other questions? Deep thinking crowd here. Yeah. Troy Wolfolk's recovery.
He's doing very well. He's doing a lot of everything that our guys are doing, change of direction, explosion type of drills and all that, and doing some 7-on-7, so he's doing well.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Dave, what's your plan on expanding the stadium again? I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, when we did the east and west towers, as part of the whole architectural structuring and planning, we eventually would love to close in both ends at an elevation that's at the same elevation as the top of the towers. So what I've said is during my tenure as AD, I would love to close in the south end, which would be the first one that we would close in. Part of that would be to create a concourse that allows easier movement both in and out of the stadium as well as from the east and west towers. And it would increase our capacity of the stadium by 6,000 or 7,000. The reason that we think that's really important is as we reseat the stadium over these 3 years, we're doing a reseating. We're putting rails in on the aisle, and for those of you who have been sitting in those really narrow seats, we're actually spreading them out a little bit. All right. Yeah, you should get a thunderous applause for that. Too late now. The net of it is we're going to lose some seats to the point where we're going to become dangerously close to not being in the big house in terms of the largest capacity, and I don't like that. So what we're going to work towards is getting a waiting list that's vibrant enough that we know we can fill the seats, come up with hopefully some financial support that we need for any of these kinds of big projects. So if any of you brought your checkbook, see me after this meeting. And what we would love to do is close in that end, and in so doing, we could take the capacity of the big house up close to 120,000, which would be pretty spectacular. We're spending $20 million providing these coaches with new HD scoreboards in football and at Chrysler and at Yost. In fact, next week we'll be asking the regents, and I'm hearing good things about them approving a $14 million capital investment in Yost to upgrade food and the concourse area. Once we get those scoreboards up in the big house, the top of the scoreboards will be right at that elevation that's equivalent to the top of the towers on the east and west side. And so our plan would be to literally fill in up and beside the scoreboards, these large scoreboards, with bleachers. Now some of you may be concerned because when you get that far up in the air, that far away from the field, you know, that's going to be a long distance, and you should know that that's where Nebraska and Michigan State and we'll keep all of you you closer. So we got a great plan, and then some other day, some other AD can close in the north end, and at that point, we'd have a stadium that would probably be over 125,000 capacity, which would be pretty cool. Yes, sir?
Speaking of tickets for opposing fans, is there any chance of opportunity to get tickets for the game in Charlottesville this November for the alumni in the area?
Yeah, usually, I don't know what the agreement is on that one. I think we get a very small allotment for our complimentary. So we'll have to look into that. It's a great question.
Yeah, the best thing to do is,
Get on that.
yeah, check with the ticket office, let them know if you're
Yeah.
interested, and let us see what we can do to help you. I don't know the answer to that either. Yes?
We see that what's happening in Ohio now, and I just want to ask the coaches.
Is there something happening in Ohio?
How do you keep track of your players, instill in them the right values? I mean, you have so many players, especially Coach Hogue. What kind of message did you give them so obviously something like that doesn't happen at the University of Michigan?
Number one, you got 18 to 23-year-old young men who, if, I don't know how many people are here, but we line up 100, we're going to find 6 to 8 knuckleheads in the crowd. Right? Well, and that happens. What you have to do, and I think what we all do, and I don't want to speak for John or Red, but it's an education every day. You've got to make sure they understand what the rules are and the consequences if you do things wrong, and the consequences to their teammates. And to us, it's always been about an accountability and being accountable to your teammates. And, you know, that message has to go out there. You know, you've got to walk in your, you know, where your players park their cars, and they have to sign in with compliance, and our people do a great job. But, you know, it can happen, obviously, and you can't be with them for 24 hours. So.
Yep. I mean, I would just say, because it's easier for me to say this than these guys, but a big part of it is who you recruit. A big part of it is the character that they bring and the quality of the people that you recruit. And I can tell you on behalf of all three of these guys, that's first and foremost, because I'm involved in the recruiting process. I meet with these student athletes, I meet with their parents, and it's very obvious to me that there is a value above and beyond just your skill level that is important if you want to come to Michigan and be successful. So you got to get the right guys and gals. You got to give them the right leadership. Our compliance department does a great job of oversight. We all sleep with one eye open, because I can tell you I have 749 student athletes this year. After men's and women's lacrosse come on board, it'll be 825 student athletes, and we can't assign a person to each one of them to watch every day and every night what they do. But we do everything humanly possible to give them the right leadership, give them the right consequences in the event that they stray off the path, and do the right things. And I think you should know that we're all working extremely hard to make sure that you will be proud of the student athletes that represent your university. Other questions? Thank you.
Dave, what are the chances that you're going to make an appearance in the spring alumni game next year?
That I'm going to play in the spring alumni game?
Yes, sir.
I would say there's not a snowball's chance in hell that I'm going to play in that game. Those guys are old, they're slow, and they wouldn't be able to keep up with it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, in the back.
Coach Beeline, maybe you can talk about this, I don't know, but can you tell us the process that went through with Darius Morris deciding on going pro, what impact you had on him, and what impact his family did, et cetera?
Everybody get that question? How do you go through the process of when a young man thinks about the pros? We were proactive with that. We called him in the next day and said, you know, we're getting reports from different areas that there may be an interest in you. What is your interest? And then we just sort of gained a lot of information after that point, presented it to he and his family. They're allowed to actually call general managers. Once he declared, they could call NBA teams and speak with them. And if they were all done with all of that, they made an educated decision. And that's all you can do with that. Red sees these issues all the time, and you know, you have to try to give them as much information as possible. But you know, and Darius now was a very good student. He was in the School of Sports Management with outstanding grades. He's a smart young man, and I trust a lot in the decision that he made.
Yeah. In back? No? Yes.
I want to ask Coach Hope if he's going to bring back the tradition of the #1 jersey.
The question is Brady going to bring back the tradition of the #1 jersey?
No one will wear one this year.
How's that for a definitive answer? Yes, sir.
I just want to ask Coach Beeline if he's already seen the fruits on the recruiting trail of having going to have the new basketball practice facility and also the renovations to Chrysler Arena that are coming up.
Yeah, it was one thing when we were recruiting with the showing them a picture of it, what it would be. We have a reality tour they can go on. But when we have men, especially this spring, having young men in and they see the reality tour and then they see the building going up, I'm reasonably sure we're going to see a great effect of that. I think we've seen the same thing with football, hockey, everything. We really have right now with all our sports, Dave and Bill Martin, everybody, the soccer, the facilities there are tremendous. We're building a great golf practice area right now. That's Michigan at one time back in the 60s, had probably one of the premier basketball arenas. But then everybody else has built theirs up, and we hadn't done a great deal with it. So we hope to see more and more in the future, and we're still looking for the right Michigan fit, but that certainly helps.
I really hope you love what we're doing with Chrysler Arena. I have 97 million reasons why I hope you love. Yes.
I know next year we have the one-off game